Why do you stay in prison when the door is so wide open? The passage that asks, why do you stay in prison when the door is so wide open, is one of Rumi's most powerful psychological and spiritual provocations. It suggests that our suffering is not a life sentence imposed by the world, but rather a self-imposed confinement. This is the poem by Rumi, "Be empty of worrying, be empty of worrying." Think of who created thought. Why do you stay in prison when the door is so wide open? Move outside the tangle of fear-thinking. Live in silence. Flow down and down in always widening rings of being. We have to explore the three layers of this metaphor: the prison, the open door, and the choice to stay. The nature of the prison in Rumi's view. The prison isn't made of stone walls or iron bars. It is constructed from fear-thinking and the tangle of the human ego, the walls of habit. We become comfortable in our misery. The prison is familiar. We know its corners and its routines. Stepping out into the wide open is terrifying because it requires us to face the unknown. The tangle of thought. Rumi identifies worrying as the primary architect of this prison. When we overanalyze the past or obsess over the future, we create a mental cage that keeps us from experiencing the reality of the present moment, the false identity. We often mistake our labels, our jobs, our failures, our social status for our actual selves. These labels act as the bars of the cell. The wide open door. Rumi insists that the door is not just unlocked, but wide open. This implies that liberation doesn't require a complex key, a secret ritual, or decades of grueling labor. It requires a shift in perception. The present moment, the door is the now. In the immediate present, the prison of the past and future does not exist. The creator of thought. Rumi asks us to think of who created thought. By moving our attention away from the content of our worries and toward the source of our consciousness, we find that the observer of the thought is already free. The infinite field beyond the door is what Rumi calls the meadow or the silence. This is a state of being where you are no longer defined by your problems, but by your connection to the divine or the universal flow of life. Why do we stay? This is the most haunting part of the question. If the door is open, why do we remain in the cell? Stockholm Syndrome with the ego. we become attached to our suffering because it gives us a sense of identity. We don't know who we would be without our story of being a victim or a person with many problems. The fear of vastness, the wide open, is huge and requires us to be responsible for our own flight. In the prison, we can blame the walls outside. We must use our wings. The constant sleep, as mentioned in his other poems, we have a tendency to go back to sleep. We have moments of clarity where we see the door is open, but the heaviness of our habits pulls us back into the corner of the cell. Moving outside the tangle. Rumi's solution is deceptively simple. Move outside. Live in silence. He isn't suggesting we stop living our lives, but that we stop living from our anxieties. To live in silence means to find that quiet space within yourself that remains undisturbed by the noise of the world. It is the act of walking through the door and realizing that the prison was only a shadow cast by your own mind.